Okay, today I would like to present about the banking sector in country China and why we choose that country to do in our assignment. Okay, the banking sector was also seriously affected in their country in addition to transit and development. Customers were unable to visit store, placing immense pressure on existing client growth, net profit margin and optimal ordinary income. There are 5 factors in the banking system in China. Okay, firstly, capacity of a digital network. During the pandemic, the information technology team will extend technology resources rapidly to enable teleworking and handle the spike in online activity. It could also encourage safety checks and provide service out through job healing. Okay, secondly, flex time skill. The disease outbreak had also caused increased needs for telework support and toughening safety. Okay, thirdly, restrict branch services. There are only a few branches open with a minimum roles available in shift as employees. Okay, bank use an online platform including such a device to convert the user experience of able to visit department to resolve their problem. Client can by booking or can replace in registration website, bank and search application to accomplish application in a wireless way. Okay, fourthly, online user procedure. During the pandemic, a major firm or a company have an online technology to establish better to contact with the customer. Convenient internet service, including the development of asset management and operational strategic planning, allow corporation to advise their digital advertising and develop customer preference, setting us up beside potential cost-effective and flexible process. Last but not least, asset financial planning. The combination of economic cycle and pandemic effect has posed considerable contest to investment with resources. Okay, why we choose that country? Because the banking industry had been on a dangerous foundation. And presently, normal borrowers are preparing for an increase in risky debt as firms run out of cash and some banks will need government loans. Last but not least, the current pandemic affects not only the economy but in our daily life as well. So thank you.
Good morning, my name is SHAMINI and my metric number is 254290. Okay, let me explain about the structure of banking system in China. Okay, the first point is types of bank. Okay, for industry and commerce, these 5 particular banks are the bank for industry and commerce. These 5 particular banks are Chinese Industrial and Commercial Bank, ICBC, Chinese Construction Bank, CCB, Chinese Bank, BOC, and Communication Bank. The Chinese regering made 3 more additional banks in year 1994, every one of which is committed to a particular reason in loaning. Okay, the second point is about the number of banks that exist in China. Okay, by the year 2017, China's number of banking establishment had expanded to 4,532 in that particular year. At this establishment, it utilized in excess of 400,000 individuals. For instance, the residential banks of China. Third point is I want to explain about how concentrated the banking system in China. Banks control the Chinese financial system, supplying approximately 3/5 of overall lending to the private sector. China's financial framework saw improved concentration with the asset proportion of large state-owned banks in a reasonable range, the country's banking and insurance regulator. Of the sector's total, the balance of deposits and loans from 5 banks in state made up of 44% and 38% respectively. Compared with the United States and major economies in Europe, China's domestic banking system posted lower concentrations. Under a concentrated banking system, banks can form a long-term relationship with firms and smooth the interest earnings over the whole period. My fourth point is I want to explain about how the international banks present in that market. Okay, based on the interviews with 38 chief executives of foreign banks, presidents and senior officials between the month of July and September 2013, the planning of a few significant activities would have a direct effect on the path to be taken by various remote banks throughout the following 3 to 5 years. Okay, including ongoing renminbi internalizations, interest rate liberalizations, and this report, together with the shape and extent of the as of late reported Shanghai Free Trade Zone provides documents into the potential way that global banks will pursue. Okay, this presence is expected to grow significantly as Chinese banks expand its operations over the next 5 years throughout the creations of new divisions, branches, and acquisitions. Thank you.
A very good evening. My name is RANJINI, daughter of KRISHNAN, and my matric number is 259278. Today I am going to talk about the policy in China banking system. Okay, in the past 3 decades, the foreign banks have been encouraged to enter the China's banking sector in a controlled and orderly manner. So the first policy is representative offices. Representative offices were the initial vehicles used by foreign banks to enter the Chinese banking sector. For most foreign banks, a representative office was the only avenue available to re-enter the China after their forced departure following the assumption of power. So the second policy is customer follower theory. So in the customer follower theory, perspective, as China frequently trades with other countries, a growing number of customers invest in China and profit from providing financial services to their original customers from the home country. And then the third policy is nationwide interbank market and interbank bond market. Okay, the People's Bank of China created a nationwide interbank market and interbank bond market to trade bonds, mainly to serve institutional investors. Only the 10 years period after over the 10 years period after the creation of interbank markets, the bond market has increased and bounced in terms of bond issues, market capitalization, and number of participants. And the fourth policy is implement regulations and supervision effectively. Okay, in order to implement the regulations and supervision effectively, the supervisory staff have been trained to effectively implement the loan classification systems and enforce the rules and regulations. And the final policy is tax system. Several areas still either lack the regulations and supervisions or need to reforms. The tax system needs to be revamped to eliminate the existing taxing heavily on estimated profits, which are overblown due to the poor classifications. Several regulatory and supervisory reforms have focused specifically on the banking institutions.
Good evening to our beloved sir and my fellow friends. My name is SHASHVEENA GOBALL. My matric number is 254610. Today I'm going to present about how the China's banking system is affected by COVID-19 pandemic. As the COVID-19 withdraws in China, the small enterprise will be hit the hardest by the regional lenders with high coverage, while the greatest banks will be probably get beyond the disturbance with the upgraded market version. Therefore, big banks very much positioned to withstand the consumer setbacks, where the crisis has begun to influence the individual advance quality, specifically loan via credit card, with the numerous individual losing employment. By the virtue of the COVID-19, manufacturing sector's shock remains for the small firms, while the small entities have become much relatively slow to revive manufacturing side as they sort out the money shortfall. Okay, for now, I'm going to talk about the government direction towards the bank, such as what kind of things bank can do and bank cannot do during the COVID-19 pandemic. Bank have a vital role to play and help the client focus on the short-term and long-term consequence. In the short term of impact, bank can cope up with the credit management. In addition, bank can support the government's action to help their customers survive. Other than that, bank also can extend their credit reminder time to misfortune product about in 2020 small taxpayers. Therefore, there are few things that bank cannot implement during the crisis of period, which is bank cannot force or request any loan borrowers to pay the bank their loan amount for 6 months. Aside that, bank also cannot force or request the client to pay their interest for the rate of loan. Now, the new restriction or regulation imposed by the regulators of China, the People's Bank of China, PBOC, and the China Banking Insurance Administrative Commission, CBIRC, and other administrative authorities help to battle against the epidemic. First of all, local governments and regulatory authorities have streamlined measures based on economic stimulus to increase the financial funding. Consequently, more opening up measures from the China government in financial sectors, such as suitable decrease for credit financing costs, increment of credit advance, and long-term and short-term advance are taken to help the endeavors to defeat the effect of the outbreak. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum, my name is SITI NURAFIQAH binti ROZLAN, matric number 259084. I will continue with 3 main points about how the Chinese banking system is affected by the COVID-19. Okay, first is what bank do to help the governments. Second is what the possible risk faced by the bank during and after the COVID-19. Third is the growing support of the Chinese banking sector on the battle of the COVID-19. Okay, I will explain first point, what bank do to help the governments. Okay, since openly uncovering the spread of the coronavirus radiating from the city of Wuhan, the Chinese government and China Central Bank attempt to bring sizable and focus on financial guard to business people and organizations. Around 1/3 of Chinese banks are making investment in place that are basically concerned about the pandemic. Okay, in China, banks are permitted to stretch repayment of lender loan with remaining some credit until to June 2020. With an incredible financing capacity, they are highly capitalized and can withstand and considerable volume of bad loan. Add-ons can helping the Chinese government deal with the economic downturn following this COVID-19 pandemic. At the end of 2019, the business represented 13.8% of the loan book of Industrial and Commercial Bank of China Limited, China's biggest bank by assets. Okay, in any case, it believed that when COVID-19 is completely subsides, the backing among Chinese banks will be more entranced, with the biggest lenders more dominant than ever. Okay, next is what the possible risks faced by the bank during and after the COVID-19 outbreak. Okay, one of possible risks faced by the bank during and after the COVID-19 pandemic is bad loans from the developer. It is because most of the Chinese developer results shows many firms were facing margin compression while during the COVID-19 outbreak hits. The business disturbance active by the COVID-19 pandemic have uncovered the weakness in weakest Chinese developers that did not utilize the great years to bolster their financial related quality. After the COVID-19 outbreak, the unfurling worldwide downturn may yet by implication and directly depress demand for property in China. Okay, the last point is the growing support to Chinese banking sector on the battle COVID-19. Okay, Chinese banking institutions have catered their resources and increased financial support for the country's battle against this new coronavirus. After the epidemic's outbreak, the China financial system has increased liquidity by producing 30 policies and financial measures on the prevention and control of the epidemics, which has ensured the uninterrupted financial service and stabilized market expectation. One of the Chinese banking sector offer credit support for more than 1.25 trillion yuan to facilitate resumption being interrupted by coronavirus outbreak, and also donate more than 2.27 billion yuan and give emergency supplies amount to 10.6 million. Besides that, the central bank has established a special refinancing facility of 300 million yuan to provide funds to major national banks and local corporate banks, providing support targeted to enterprises directly involved in combating the outbreak.